Hello and welcome to this video from the 2023 Machina Bristronica DivKid Discussion stage. Here we have an interview with Joran from Joranalogue talking about his history, birth, design philosophy and module range, as well as some great analog modular techno in a jam with a full Joranalogue system from Boris at the end of the video. Machina Bristronica 2024 is coming on October the 12th and 13th. Tickets and information linked below. Let's get into it.
Hello again, everyone. Hope you're having a great start to Machina Bristronica, and welcome to Joran from Joranalogue. We're going to hear from Boris a little bit later as well. He's going to perform the last part of this kind of segment interview. I'm sure people are well aware of who you are and your modules, and that's why they're here. But I'd like to really go back to the beginning, so don't think we've done that in a kind of interview form before, of you getting into either synths in general or modular, your musical background, before we move into kind of philosophy and talking about specific modules.
Let's discuss how things got started.
Yeah, because you are a bigger team now. It's not just you. It's a bigger company, a big range of modules.
Yeah.
Was there a catalyst? Was there a thing that you saw, a certain given thing, or was it?
Well, it all started the day I was born. It's.
Tell me about your mother and father.
Oh my God, we don't have time for this. It's a couple of things. So I've always been interested in technology and music, and I have musical family background. And then I stumbled upon modular when I was in middle school, I think.
Okay.
And I knew it existed. I didn't have any, I had a Korg micro Korg, and then I had an Ovation base station a little bit later. I would go to second-hand websites and try to, buy some cheap things or repair them eventually. When I was a student, I started doing repairs, and that became my full-time job, basically, when I graduated electronics. But I've always had this goal of I want to design modules, because in some way there's like a musical, I wouldn't say I'm a musician, but there's a musical part of my brain, there's a technical engineering part of my brain, and modular is this perfect symbiosis of those, for me at least, of those two domains. So I think I decided I wanted to design modules like 5 or 10 years before I had, first module. It's always been something I've wanted to do. And I'm also mostly interested in analog technology. So all the modules we make are fully analog, except for test 3, but that's a special one. Because also that analog technology just corresponds best with how my brain works. No, it's not from a purist standpoint that I'm like, oh, analog sounds so much better, or no, because you can in theory do anything digitally. You can do analog, but it's just a much more gratifying process of design, and I think it also makes for more interesting modules. Because there are inherent limitations in analog, but also things analog is very good at compared to digital. And that's a concept that I think works very well. Like it's quite clear to people if they're getting your analog module that it's going to be analog.
Yeah.
And we're going to try and push the envelope and do things no one has tried before, or combine things in a new way. But always within this, within these constraints of what's possible in analog. So that's how it went. Like I did some repair work of vintage synthesizers, and I released the first module, which was Switch 4, performance switching routing module. Quite simple, but I had a few ideas of modules in the back of my mind for years, and I've got old concepts from like 10, 15 years ago, still in a folder somewhere. And then a couple of people came to me with essentially the same module idea, which was Switch 4. Was like, I think there might be more people interested if these people who don't know each other
Yeah,
separately.
A couple of separate incidents come together.
Yeah, so okay, let's make that the first module. And then I took some of the old concepts I had, I reworked them, I separated them, I combined them, and that became Select 2, Mix 3, Compare 2. Those were like the first. And then I found like I started to become known as the utilities guy. Then I released Filter 8 in 2018. And I would say that was the first module that really put a brand on people's radars.
There's something with a filter, and I think it's the filter mouth thing. Everybody just enjoys going wow, wow on filters, and they're really obvious what they do. I do think tides are changing with utilities. In that 5 years ago, it was almost a dirty word. I kind of said to a brand in an interview I did online, "You're very good at doing utilities," and they kind of took it the wrong way. But I think people are realizing that those are the building blocks that make a system exciting.
It's the main point of modular.
Yeah. That was always Rob Hordike's thing of modular is about modulation and control, and that's what it offers over other forms of synthesis as opposed to a different sound or sonic character.
Absolutely.
So, but I think that's kind of changing. People are seeing utilities as being an exciting thing.
Yeah, I think that's a very good thing. I would say the market is going in couple of different ways. Like that, there's a lot more people exposed now to modular, and they might start with. I've seen it quite often. Like they start with reference points. They start with, oh, I can get this cool sounding filter from this vintage synthesizer in a module. Cool. Because that's a reference point they know from subtractive synthesizers. And the utilities, which again I would say is the main point of modular or the most interesting thing, is something that usually takes a little bit more time to comprehend.
Yeah, we don't get into modular top thinking of cool switches or VCAs or.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. They're almost the dream of building, say, your dream mono synth. 4 oscillators, but it's a MS-20 style filter, or they're reference points. Certainly, how I got into it. I can build the mono synth of my dreams, as it were.
Yes, exactly. And I would say for me it was a similar thing. Like I was also interested in because I've built quite a few DIY modules. That was actually my graduation project in high school, was to build a modular synthesizer.
What kind of school? You mentioned finding modular in middle school, and now you're graduating school with modular synths.
Yes.
Is there some special program that they put on in Belgium? That
No. It's just it's just
school?
me. It's just me, and having to explain to teachers what the hell I was doing. But I was lucky, especially in high school, having the having teachers that were very welcoming to what I was interested in, and we had a class of 2 people studying electronics. So it was really just like, you guys just do whatever you want. It's just 2 of you, so we don't care. Like, so we were both like, my fellow student was not that much into synthesizers, but we could basically do what we wanted. So I made a ring modulator with diodes and transformers, and I made a Steiner Parker filter, and I made all these classic designs and the things that. But no utilities really. Like that only came later for me as well. Like this realization that it's actually pretty interesting to create these modulation signals and then change things, and not just not just a signal path, a subtractive signal path, and because then there's little point in going modular if that's the goal. I think. If that's your main goal is just to patch a subtractive synth, well, you can buy those. They have those pre-made in the stores, This.
I think it comes back to that choosing the color thing. Like I want Model D oscillators and MS-20 filters, and that would be the point in my mind. But I would agree that the utilities and the modulation is what would make that exciting.
Yeah.
It just comes later on, as you say.
Yeah. And to continue the story, then. Well, Filter 8 did quite well, and you get more worldwide because Eurorack is a very global thing, so you get worldwide, some more coverage. Things became quite crazy. I released
So this is still
Generate.
just you at this point?
Yes, I released Generate, I released Contour, a couple of others, the inputs, the outputs. I was working on step 8, I think, at the time. And then Fritz joined the team, which some of you may have seen on some videos or events. He's a brilliant musician, brilliant Eurorack wizard. And then Boris joined the team as well, and now we've got some more people helping with some design work, some videography, some administration. So we're like core team of 3 with 6 people, depending on how you count it. Because there are limitations to how much you can do as one person.
Yeah.
And there's also benefits in having a team, especially a team of people who are passionate about Eurorack, because you get these very short. I've always worked very closely with artists for feedback and testing and so on. But to have that, that level of feedback, of level of involvement, even sooner in the design or concept stage, can be quite valuable.
We've always had that, and people don't see this behind the scenes, but when modules come to test, and the ones that I've been involved with, you'll maybe suggest something that someone else has said and leave everybody to find their own way, and then very good at kind of collating feedback on features generally and ranges of controls and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think it makes a huge difference in really kind of ironing out what the end product is and how it responds.
Yeah.
It's clear by that point the ideas are fully formed.
Yeah, like
and
we
things
don't
are working.
We don't send anything out. I'm to put it in like software term, like we only send out release candidates. Basically, I never use the term beta testing because for me it doesn't really. It's not the right term for hardware development. But also it's not like we don't send out beta units.
No, it becomes it's those defining features in an artistic sense, and what ranges of controls are and how performable they are.
Yeah, and it's also often a case of the people who test or try our modules, they find applications we haven't thought about, or certain patches, and they make some demos, the ideas end up in the user manuals, or we make our own videos about it. So it's also very valuable in that sense, because everyone has a different approach to modular. Everyone has their own approach, and it's very easy to get stuck into a way of doing things as a person, as a team, and then getting all of these other. Even here, like being at an event, people come to you, people own your modules. They say, I use it for this, I use it for that. It's really valuable, I think. It just makes for better products, I think.
Yeah. So we've kind of got up to current range of modules. You got up to talking about step 8 development.
Yeah.
We've had delay 1, route 4 since then as well. Where do you see it going? Without talking about, what's the next module, where does this kind of philosophy take you as a team?
We're really looking to push the boundary of analog synthesis, of analog design, and there's actually so much that has never been done before.
It's interesting because you talk to a lot of people and like, yeah, we're all just kind of rehashing analog designs.
Yeah.
But we've spoken in the past about this, that I don't know what all these avenues are that you're going to go down. I don't want to know right away either. But you've always said there's a lot of things that haven't been done.
There's so much. It's incredible. And for me, it's like, I get it, like why people would reissue a classic filter design or something. Because it is, you know it's going to be popular. That people have this reference point. To be honest, it's also easier to do that. But I think we're not just designing simply tools here. It's not like a laundry machine that has to do laundry the most efficient way. It's designing musical instruments, and if you have something that has inspiration built into it, then you can inspire your user as well to do things they wouldn't have thought about. And I deeply believe in this, and I would say that's our core philosophy. And it takes more time. Maybe it doesn't make economical sense to put this much time into designing these modules that way, but I believe that's the only way to go forward, is to leave the past behind and just move on. And for us as a team, it's I had this analogy, like someone asked me, like, how do you keep just now, like, how do you keep that funnel full of ideas? And I said that the problem is not the top side of the funnel, it's the bottom side of the funnel, where it takes time and effort to actually design and produce everything. Because the top of the funnel is full, like it's full of ideas. There's no problem there. So we've got our work cut out for us, definitely.
Yeah, of course. Delay 1, I think, is the thing that's caught most people's attention lately, and I think these being so open-ended, it makes it difficult to kind of demo in this setting. But it's fair to say it's like your filters are, like Generate 3. It's your take on delay effects as a whole. I think it's unfair to kind of pigeonhole it into it's a car plus strong, it's an echo, it's a chorus, it's a flanger. But is there any one of those things that really speaks to you? Was there kind of, I want to build a really nice chorus, or I want an echo that is all the things I've wanted from an echo?
I like to think in building blocks.
Okay.
So I see all of our modules as this open-ended building block with a set of inputs and outputs that does a certain thing, but it's up to the user to determine how that building block fits into the house they're building, or whatever, or chicken shed, or whatever you happen to be building. And I think it's a little bit, it makes for more interesting modules, I think. Maybe a little bit less immediate in a way, like, okay, you've got a good sounding chorus, you put a signal in, sounds amazing coming out.
Yeah, you could split delay 1 into a much simpler, here's a chorus, here's a flanger, here's an echo, here's a car plus strong plucked string.
But isn't it a lot more interesting, and I would say also economical for the user, to have one module that you can use in a different way in every patch, without any menu diving, without needing to look in the manual every time, because it's just inherent in how the module works. You set it up in a way, and it works in that way. We want to try for people to reimagine what's possible with analog synthesis, because there's so many sounds left to discover, and it's almost doing a disservice to the possibilities that are there if you're just stuck into this rut of just, okay, subtractive synthesis, standard stuff. There is so much to be gained from experimentation and actually looking at what's not done before, and it's an investment of, you need to invest some time and money, and that's for us as a company, but also for the end user to open up to these new ideas. But it's absolutely worth it. Like this whole vast, endless world that's within a system this size, and definitely a system that size you're about to see. It's amazing me every day, and just to think that we've built this system that's never been
kind of realized in this way before.
Yes, it's something that's inspiring us every day, and I hope will inspire people as well to make music and to experience new things.